Welcome to the fourth in our 2022 Lenten meditations with the community of St. Andrew's Church here in Toronto. Our theme this year is Light in Darkness, and the meditations feature speakers from a variety of missions and ministries in Toronto that St. Andrew's supports. They will be talking about how they have managed to continue in their work in the midst of the pandemic. So far, we have heard from Kate McGee, the Director of Boarding Homes Ministries, Indra Narayansing and me about the Out of the Cold program here at St. Andrew's, and from Deb Stanbury, the Director of Arise Ministry. If you've not had a chance to hear these meditations, you can still find them on our website. Once again this year, we come to you in this YouTube format and invite you into Zoom conversations at 7 p.m. on each Thursday in Lent. These conversations are very rich, and even if you have not participated earlier, we encourage you to join us by registering on our website. Today's speaker is Jay Clark, who is the Associate Chaplain with the Ecumenical Chaplaincy of the University of Toronto. It's also called ECUT, and Jay's work is focused on the Scarborough campus. The ministry at Scarborough is different from the St. George campus in a context where chaplaincy has not been strongly rooted. Jay has been able to carve out a place and to develop a community among students there, and has been an important voice in making a faith perspective more heard and seen. We look forward to hearing Jay's reflections on how the chaplaincy has continued its work during the pandemic. St. Andrew's has had a number of members who have served on the board of ECUT. I am currently a member, and Candy Grant, an elder here at St. Andrew's, who will be reading the psalm with me, was previously a member. We hosted the first gala in support of the Querying Religion program, and we have had other members of the chaplaincy team here lead our Advent meditations in 2018. Each week, our meditations begin with a nocturne. These nocturnes were written and recorded by the late Reverend Roger Hunter, the past director of Boarding Homes Ministries, who was also a minister in association here at St. Andrew's. They are musically accompanied by Bruce Lay. The tone of these readings and the music take us into the spirit of Lent and a deep reflection on the challenges that often face us in our lives. We trust that these meditations continue to be meaningful for you in this Lenten season, and that you will consider joining us in conversation on Thursday evenings.
Nocturne number 4. We bring a prayer through your Spirit, in words somewhat free and somewhat buckled. Hear us. We may be anxious, our God. Dusk has settled upon us, and affliction's dark is alive. There are talons. It grips, then the living darkness prunes, it snaps at us. There are teeth in this darkness. Our God, it snips off parts of life. At times, our God, this can be holy, and we may need it to prune. And at other times, O our God, many and many good and holy joyful things are lost in the dark. In this shuttered time, we bring the mutterings of a darkened life. We may bring the rehashings of a diagnosis, or the negative voice, or bring well-picked over regrets. We might shout out all the desperate rewritings of our history. And still our God, here we are, in the just here and now. So we drop down any notions of blame or merit, of good or ill, cause and effect. They belong to another world. We lay down all the notions that hurt is divine retribution. We simply remain yours, dark, and place before you all the winding down of old dreams, dreams long held and cherished, that now in this cell of affliction will never come to pass. In this all too afflicted time, grains of darkness swirl in and drift up around the soul. Our God, in this nerve-jangled, nocturnal cul-de-sac of diminished futures, our God, with your strong hand, touch our tears. This earth spins towards an uncertain future. And should sleep be difficult, tenderly, we are still simply yours through the living Christ. Amen.
A reading from Psalm 103. Bless the Lord, O my soul, and all that is within me. Bless God's holy name.
Bless the Lord, O my soul, and do not forget all God's benefits.
Who forgives all your iniquity, who heals all your diseases.
Who redeems your life from the pit, who crowns you with steadfast love and mercy.
Who satisfies you with good things as long as you live, so that your youth is renewed like the eagles.
The Lord works vindication and justice for all who are oppressed.
God's ways were made known to Moses, God's acts to the people of Israel.
The Lord is merciful and gracious, slow to anger and abounding in steadfast love.
The Lord will not always accuse, nor harbor anger forever.
The Lord does not deal with us according to our sins, nor repay us according to our iniquities.
For as the heavens are high above the earth, so great is the steadfast love shown to those who fear God.
As far as the east is from the west, so far does God remove our transgressions from us.
As a father has compassion for his children, so the Lord has compassion for those who fear him.
The Lord knows how we were made and remembers that we are dust.
As for mortals, their days are like grass. They flourish like a flower of the field.
For the wind passes over it and it is gone, and its place knows it no more.
But the steadfast love of the Lord is from everlasting to everlasting on those who revere God, and God's righteousness to children's children.
To those who keep the covenant and remember to do God's commandments.
The Lord has established a throne in the heavens, and the kingdom of God rules over all.
Bless the Lord, O ye angels, you mighty ones who do God's bidding, obedient to God's spoken word.
Bless the Lord, all you hosts, you ministers that do God's will.
Bless the Lord, all creation, in all places of God's dominion. Bless the Lord, O my soul.
Peace be with you. I am grateful to be given the opportunity to speak with you, the people of St. Andrews, and others who are watching during your Lenten meditation series. I hope what is shared here today can be enlightening, insightful, and impactful, and you go away taking something meaningful from this brief meditation. My name is Leonard. I am the I'm associate chaplain with the ecumenical chaplaincy in the University of Toronto. And I work out of the Scarborough campus of the University of Toronto. Um, the what I was asked to do here today is describe what ministry has been, or what type of ministry I've been doing during the pandemic and for the last 2 years, 2.5 years or so. One of the reasons I agreed to share with you today is because of the insights that were gleaned during these past few years, especially the importance of community. What I mean by this is, as you all know, and you've probably felt, it's been difficult during the pandemic because, society has definitely changed. Shutdowns, lockdowns, people losing loved ones. It's just been a really difficult time. And there hasn't been a lot of avenues for people to be able to explore. There hasn't been a lot of opportunity for people to come together and pray and share their grief, share their stories, or to just be with one another. And that has been one of the major tragedies of life during the pandemic. Um, but one in particular is what what community means, or what we view as community, or what community has revealed, or how community, I should say, has revealed itself during these trying times. And I will try to take a few minutes to discuss this with you. So, when we think of community, we often think of neighborhood, the community in which you live. Um, you know, Community college is usually the college that's in the vicinity, and you can go there and still be at home, and not have to really leave town or leave the city to go there, right? So we think of community as neighborhood. Well, the majority of us do. Um, it's often the place where we live, or the place we grew up. But I come to realize that that's only one aspect of community. In fact, I believe that it is um, uh, it's the lesser aspect of community, if I may be able to couch it in those terms, because community is more than proximity. Community is more than the people near you, right? The community is more than membership in a church. It's more than um, uh, relationships, family relationships. It's more than being having people call your name at your favorite bar. Cheers. Um, but community I've come to realize is wholehearted acceptance. Community is healing. It is a belonging. Um, in short, community is identity. And what do I mean by this? Um, I want you to take a moment and think about the following questions. Um, where do you feel most comfortable? Hmm? And why do you feel that you can be most comfortable in that particular place or with those particular people? Hmm? Now consider these additional questions. Um, are you comfortable in that particular place or with those particular people because they're familiar to you? Or are you comfortable because you feel as though you can be your true, authentic, ideal self without trepidation, without judgment, um, uh, without hiding? Do you feel whole when you're with these particular people? Have you ever noticed? Um, Sometimes people say, I have no one to talk to, or I have no one that relates to me, all the while they seemingly are surrounded with what you see as a person looking from the outside in. You see them surrounded by, lots of friends, lots of family. And you ponder, why do you feel like you have no one to talk to when all of these people, it seems, are available to you? But that's just it. They may be in proximity, but they don't necessarily have community with these people because they don't feel as though they can relate. They don't feel as though they can be their true, authentic selves. And that's what I want to dive into just briefly, because this is just a 15 to 20 minute meditation here, but I want to dive into it just to kind of suss out my thought process here. One of the troubling things that I've learned speaking with people throughout this pandemic is that uh, they find that the people they're most closest to, or the people that they're in the closest proximities to, um, they begin to find out that maybe they don't relate to these people so much. One of the other things that we've found is that be- humans need social interaction. Okay, so being alone and being isolated is not it's not a great place to be, and we need people to reach out, to share ourselves with, to to teach us, to grow us, to pour ourselves into, and that's been missing during the pandemic. Um, and I think that highlights what we're trying to discuss here today. So when we break down the word community, um, it's something like common unity, or it's people with common purpose, common values, um, you know, similar belief systems, similar world outlook, similar perspectives, who are living together in unity, or communing together, or sojourning together. And uh, that's good. That's at the very least, that is the basic definition or the basic breakdown of community or common unities. But sometimes these things can go awry. You have, common belief systems, common values that don't benefit everyone. These common belief systems actually work in a way to, in people's head, it separates them. It's a way to separate themselves from people who don't fit into that particular common unity, and that's that's not that's not the way community is supposed to work. In my estimation, community is something that, when it's understood in what I believe, the way it's supposed to be understood, um, it it reveals who we are as people. Um, it helps to reveal um, how we are going to be purposeful in the world. It helps to reveal our place. It helps to reveal our niche. It helps to reveal um, our clan, or the people that we feel most drawn to, um, for purposes of ministry, for purposes of help. It's not supposed to be divisive. It's not supposed to be segregated. You know, it's supposed to be something that brings us all together. Um, if we look through the history of the world, the history, the many atrocities that has taken place, that has happened in the world with, um, from Christianity to, every religion, atrocities that's happened to every race. We see a common theme here. We see a common theme um, that says, okay, so um, we are a people that share these same views, no matter how skewed or incorrect they may be. We have the same ideals, the same mindset, and anyone that doesn't share these views, that doesn't share these mindsets, or anyone that doesn't look as though they can fit into our community must be um, inferior. They must be subjugated, and that this thinking has caused a lot of hurt. And even, let's bring it to a more personal viewpoint. In as you may know a person, may not be a friend, but you may know a person who you don't share the same values with, you don't share the same views with, and I want you to take a second to think about that particular person, right? Just take a second, think about that person, and when you do, what what are the feelings, what are the thoughts that come to mind when you think of that person? And I'm not trying to make anyone feel bad here. All I'm saying is, it's you know it's a feeling that we have. I mean, it's human nature. It's a feeling that we have. If someone doesn't really agree with the type of views that we have, we tend to separate ourselves or distance ourselves, and that's not necessarily um, the intent of community. That's not the intent of common unity, or communing together. It is finding who you are and using this recognition to bring change to the world. Simply put, community is finding who you are, joining with individuals who are like minded, and bringing change to the world. That's it. So as we move forward, um, maybe we can start to rethink, if you haven't already, how we approach um, communing together, how we approach common unities, how we approach um, seeing ourselves in the world, who we join with, who we connect with, why we connect with them, why do we join with them. It's time that, or this pandemic, or this time during the pandemic, has compelled a lot of people to think differently, to think more, and that's good. And I think that we should recognize the opportunity, um, to maybe shift some things in our lives, shift some things, in our thinking, um, and try, to be better, try to be greater, try to reach even more people, um, and that's the message. Um, that's something that we can meditate on, today and going forward, during the season of Lent, and even further. Um, and um, um, I guarantee you that it would be a eye-opening and insightful, um, exercise that you do. And you may even discover more of who you are, more of who you connect with, why you connect with them, and then, purposefully, purposely searching out how you can take this newfound, these connections or this identity, and share it with the world, or be impactful, connect, or influence, certain people, that you may not have been able to influence before because you didn't really understand who you were, as a person. So I leave with you, that message. I want to thank, you, St. Andrew's Church again. Um, I want to thank Bob Ferris for this invitation today. And I hope that this brief conversation was insightful. Peace be with you.
We are grateful to you, Jay, for taking the time to share with us in this meditation. Many of us know little about the Scarborough campus, and we thank you for helping us to know more about EQT's work there. The pandemic has had a particular challenge for students, most of whom have had to do their work online over these past 2 years. The lack of connection to other students and to their professors and the life of the university has often brought a deep sense of isolation. Thank you for the work you have been doing and for your presence among students in these difficult times. We look forward to continuing conversation with you on Thursday evening. Once again, if you would like to join in this conversation with Jay, please register on the front page of our website at standrewstoronto.org, or be in touch with me by email at b.ferris@standrewstoronto.org, and I will send you the information for the Zoom meeting. We hope that you've enjoyed this fourth in our Lenten meditation series. Please join us next week for our final meditation, when we welcome Ainsley Chapman, the Executive Director, and Crystal Cotter, the Spiritual Care Manager from Evangel Hall.